What's cracking, people? Angelic Mayhem here, and welcome to the next video in my Path of Exile series. And in this video, we're going to be talking about Righteous Fire. So basically, I wanted to do a Righteous Fire build for a long time, and I went out onto the internet and took a look at YouTube, and I wasn't able to find any videos that were after the Forsaken Masters patch. Okay, it was all stuff from like a year ago, 2 years ago, or whatever. And nothing that I really like. So I decided to make one of my own. And so basically, what I've done here is I've actually created a a Righteous Fire build that you can begin using Righteous Fire at level 32. Okay, now I know it says level 36, but that's because I've been, experimenting and doing things to make sure that it's, up and running. But everything that I'm going to show you here, you can do by level 32, okay? Assuming that the very first thing that you do is get a Purity of Fire on as soon as it's available so that you can begin leveling it up, all right? Obviously, Purity of Fire is important because it does your fire resistance, and then it also, as you level it up, it begins to grant you an additional maximum fire resistance. Now, those fire resistances used to be on the passive tree. They're not there anymore, okay? Which is what makes this so much harder than it used to be, which is why all those old videos are worthless. For those of you who don't know, Righteous Fire, it does 90% of your max life in damage, in fire damage. So basically, the first thing that you want to do is you want to load yourself up with anything that has fire resistance, and then you also want to load yourself up with anything that has life regen. All right, so now we're pretty much set. Everything else here is, basically self-explanatory. Leap Slam allows me to get around very quickly. Ice Nova is how I got here in the first place. And then my primary attack is the Double Strike, which has the melee attached to it, and I'll show you all that when we actually get into the build. Critical is my setup down here, okay, because this whole thing runs through flasks. My first flask, the one that's most important, is the one that says instant recovery. Okay, so when I am being attacked, and you're going to watch my health go all the way down. The second it gets like somewhere down here, I'm going to hit this in order to give myself an instant 705. All right, and then the next one that I hit is going to be this one right here, which is 1410. Now you can already see that my life is 1100. Okay, so that's just by the fact that it is recovering slowly in the background is going to keep me from, running out of health. And then finally, I will also hit one of my 2 ruby flasks. It doesn't matter which one, although this one grants me movement speed, so it's the one that I prefer. But it'll be one of these 2 depending upon, which one is available. And the Ruby Flash just basically, it gives me an extra plus 10 maximum fire resistance. So the normal cap is 75. Because I'm running Purity of Fire, that makes it 76. And then the 10 that I receive from the Ruby Flask makes it 86. So that gives me only a 14% damage. So take 14% of this number, and that's the amount of damage that I'm going to be taking. Now, the one thing that I don't have is Vitality. If I did have Vitality, that would grant me an extra 1% of regen. And I'm also missing some of my nodes. I'll show you all that in a little bit. But without further ado, let's get into this. So I'm just going to go down here and find the very first group. We got some little doggies. That's interesting. All right. We kick it off. Burning, burning, burning. And now W, Q, then E. And you can see that I'm basically, as long as that flask is still running, we're good to go. And now we just keep doing that over and over again. W, Q, and E. And we can continue indefinitely. Now, obviously, if I run into some sort of like super mega boss or something like that, there may be a chance that, I actually end up dead or whatever. But for the most part, you can just simply run around and do all this damage. Now, the only way that this is possible is because I am able to run this based on the 1100 health that I have. There are a lot of old videos. I hit that a little early, so ignore that. There are a lot of old videos out there on the web where, like they focus entirely on get health, get health, get health. That's actually a bad thing if you want to run Righteous early because, obviously, the more health you have, the more damage it's doing. And then, once you have like, all right, now it's a little trickier than I thought, talking and trying to do this at the same time. All right, so I'm just going to run around for a little bit. And now I'm full. I'll do this again. It depends heavily on my ability to kill people very quickly. Let me get in here. Nope, that's a problem. All right, well, I think you get the point. I'm not going to sit here and do all that. We'll head back to town, and I'll show you the rest of the build. So a lot of videos on YouTube, you know, used to be the old way, okay? You want to get, max your health as fast as possible, get your life as high as possible, and then you want to buy some sort of rare, like shield or something like that jacks your fire, your, max fire resistance even higher, and yada, 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 okay? I didn't want to go that route. I wanted to see if I could do this without any sort of, like, super special stuff. I mean, I have uniques on, but, it's just for movement and things like that. It's not really for, like, maintaining the Righteous Fire. All right, so let's get into this part of it first. The reason why I have Spiked Maul, or I'm sorry, this Quilloki is because I wanted to do like the mega physical damage that this thing has, and it also gives me the plus 10 life gained on kill. So what I do is I use the Righteous Fire as kind of like this bonus thing. I run into the crowd, I begin hitting them with my double strike, and obviously this unique item that gives me plus 10 life. Every time I kill them, it jacks the life up even further, and then I have to rely less on my flasks. Down here, everything is basically about life regen, okay? So I have the 3 life regen here. This I don't have yet, but I have a great pair of gloves waiting to go when I hit 39, so that's in 3 more levels. This is just for the movement speed, so it really doesn't have any sort of, it doesn't have any life regen or anything like that. But, obviously the plus 20% movement speed is important because you got to be able to move around. Again, life regen, and then here is where I have my fire resistance. I got a plus 29 on my ring. More life regen up top here. And then this is just, the gloves that I'm using until I can get these up and running. I also have, I was fooling around with this other thing here. This is a great shield that I picked up that has 7.4 life regen, which it's about the same. I mean, I actually get a little bit more health by wiping people out very quickly as opposed to trying to, survive solely on the life regen. I feel like this works a little bit better. Picking up the health by killing people. I think that that's a little better way to go. In terms of flasks, let me pull this back up. It's easier this way. All right, so the first flask is the one that you have to have. It's got to be the instant recovery, okay? And actually, what I would say to you is that you could probably do away with the Quicksilver. I'm just trying to move through as quickly as possible in order to level up as quickly as possible, so I'm still using my Quicksilvers. But I could actually do away with this and put in 1 more health flask in order to maintain this solidly, without any sort of problem or anything like that. You got to have at least 1 instant recovery because your health is going to go down. You're going to be hooked into, like 20 doggies at one time or something like that. And you're going to have to get 700 health very quickly. The next one that I'm using is, I mean, obviously this is a huge amount of health and it's recovering slowly. Okay, so the recovery over time is what really makes this particular flask appealing. These two, I could probably do, I could probably change the magical attributes of these to become a little bit better. Again, I was looking for the movement speed, so that's why I really like this one. And then this one has additional elemental resistance, but that really doesn't matter because if I pull this up and I hook over here to defense, you'll see that my fire resistance is at 74. So I really don't need any sort of additional elemental resistance. I'm getting the plus 10 max fire, when I hit this, which sends me to, it will send this to, in this case, 84, but whatever. So I'm already doing the appropriate amount of damage reduction. So I don't really need, like anything other than that. So I actually could change this one up to be a little bit better. All right, and then finally, I'm going to take you into the passive tree to show you exactly how I did it. So a lot of people start over here with the Marauder. The problem with that is that you pick up immediately the plus 16 to max health, okay? And the object here, if you want to run this at an early level, you can't jack your health up to be, like 2,000 or something like that. You'll never be able to recover the difference that you are making. I mean, this is just too much damage. So you actually have to spend time trying to not pick up health, all right? To actively not pick up health. Over here under the Duelist, you have to start off with life, so I did have to go that way. And then, a couple of these nodes have life attached to them, but they also have the life regen, all right? Now, that's very important. You want, I mean, again, this is a percentage of your life regained, okay? So whenever I hit this flask, that takes me to, I mean, we already established 84. So this is another 1% of life that I'm automatically getting back. So take that 84, make it 85. This is another 1.5, so now we're at 86.5. And then there's some more up here. This one I'm going over for, which will be 87.5, and then there's one here, which will be 88.5, and then this is my next one, which is 89.5. You know, so eventually you'll be able to whittle this down to the point where you can just basically walk around, because you're going to have enough life regen from your items and enough life regen from your nodes to just, you know, not have to worry about flasks at all. Now, I don't know what level that's going to happen at. I mean, clearly, I got to go at least 1, 2, 3. This is another 8, which is 11. And then there was another one here. Oh, this one down here. So that's another 6. So I got another, you know, let's say 20 nodes, you know, just to ballpark it, that I'm going to have to pick up in order to really just kind of be able to walk about and just have this thing active. So, you know, that might be, you know, somewhere in the range of, you know, level 50. I mean, depending upon, you know, whether I go for Dominus soon or whether I keep farming on the docks. Now, the other thing that I plan on doing, okay, now that I'm down here, okay, I plan on scooting out here to this dexterity and then running this line in this direction to get over to here, because there's another 1% here. You know, I don't know yet whether that's absolutely necessary, but it is something that I plan on doing on this build to find out the answer to that. And, you know, depending upon, you know, if this is absolutely amazing, I'll do a second video when I get to level 60, and I'll show you how cool this can be. But for the most part, you know, again, I follow this line down here, and then unlike most builds, it's all about staying on the highway, okay? Don't go, you know, wandering about into, you know, some of this other stuff. You want to just focus on getting out here to all these life regen nodes. And then after you pick up all the life regen nodes, which I actually used, so I went to pathofexile.com and I used their, you know, like their little online one of these. And I was able to do it in, I think, 60 or 65 jumps, something like that, including going all the way out here. Okay, so this is perfectly reasonable to be able to do by, say, level 60 or even like level 50, something like that. So, you know, for those of you who are interested in, you know, doing a Righteous Fire build, I think it's a lot of fun. You know, it was very challenging trying to get it just right because, again, when you don't have all this stuff, Righteous Fire just eats through this, you know, in seconds. So it's tricky, but, you know, definitely worth it because, I mean, like I said, when you get out to the docks and you hit this thing and then you just start running through people, I mean, it just lights them on fire. And then the other thing is that, so, you know, in order to get to this node, I got to pick up this fire damage here, and there's also the burning, right? Then we go, we go up here, 1, 2, and then I can get into this health ring here, which, you know, eventually I'll want this to be a little bit higher than 1100. And then I can scoot right over here, and I have this mega burning ring right here. So this is perfect. And then I also have, you know, like some other fire stuff and things like that in here. So all of those things together is going to make this just, you know, this mega run through everyone and just liquidate, you know, burn them right up, turn them to ash. And then the final thing is, you know, I got to pick up this other life regen, which is where I'm heading now. I think I'm going to go here first, and then I'll pick up these other ones right after that. Because I have this life regen and this life regen. And then there's also, right here, these 3 0.6s. And then there's also, if I decide to go, I mean, you know, depending upon how well this works out, there's the life regens here on the Scion. So there you go. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please click the like button, share it with your friends, or subscribe to my YouTube channel for more content like this in the future. I'm Angelic Mayhem, and I'll see you next time.